AEW. All Elite Wrestling. That is a show that reminds me why I became a wrestling fan. I'm sure it reminds a lot of people who are fans of wrestling as to why they love this business. When the right company, the right people come together to put together moments that are special, and when the big moments like what we've gotten the past week with All Elite Wrestling happen, you can't help but just appreciate it. You cannot help but just realize this is why I love wrestling. And I feel that is a nice reminder as I start this week of, my new game plan. As in, just easing back on wrestling right now, talking about the stuff that I want to talk about, and don't waste my time on the stuff that I don't want to talk about. And it starts with my AEW Dynamite review. And after Dynamite, after I do this review, I'm going to open up my DVD player. I need to make a graphic for this. But tonight, I will. It will not be live. I will record the first of my sitcom reviews, which I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it. But what is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993. We are here live for my live review of AEW Dynamite from the August 25th, 2021 edition that took place in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're about a week and a half away from AEW All Out. Has a pretty good card so far. And I thought this was a pretty good show. Again, it wasn't an A-level show, but it was a very strong show. It wasn't perfect, but has me excited for All Out. And just excited to be a wrestling fan in general. Especially with what has happened since this past Friday night on Rampage. Which I will save that and the content that I went into for this show for the end. First, let's talk about everything else All Elite. Everything else is good, but nothing is topping off what we are seeing. What we are seeing right now as one of the impossibles for me. There's been a few within the past, I've been a wrestling fan now for 8 years now. It's actually 8 years around this time I started watching wrestling full time. August of 2013, SummerSlam 2013 was the show that grabbed my attention, that the wrestling industry officially grabbed my attention. They made me want to see what's going to happen. Thanks to someone that's still being teased, as he is on his way to AEW as well. So, let me roll in and let's talk about the show and then the big headlines that has happened from this past week in All Elite Wrestling. Let's roll in here. Again, no one's in the live chat right now, but hopefully that will change later. We'll have to wait and see. So as far as Dynamite from last night, the show opened up with a match with Matt Hardy, Big Money Matt Hardy of the Hardy family office, taking on Orange Cassidy. Good match. Pretty good chemistry between these two. Of course, I do like at the beginning how Matt would be going delete. Orange Cassidy would do like a light little kick, and then he'd go delete, light little kick, delete, light little kick, delete, and just a little bit of like a character moment there, which was pretty cool. Also, I gotta give a shout out to my good friend Joe Miller, who actually just met Orange Cassidy recently at a Comic-Con in Pittsburgh, and several other wrestlers. He got to meet Mark Henry. He got to meet Shawn Spears, Thunder Rosa, which I knew that one he was excited for. He's a huge Thunder Rosa fan, and a few others. But of course, we met Orange Cassidy. Cassidy said something like, holding up my two legs to stand or whatever, whatnot he says. So, still in character, but, him and Matt had a good match. And, Orange Cassidy gets the win with a hands in his pockets victory roll-up pin. Works for me, and, yeah, we'll see what's next for these guys, as always. Let me see here. So then we have Malachi Black cutting up promo about how he has a match against Brock Anderson, Arn Anderson's son, tonight. And suggested that it's going to end with Brock apologizing and going to the back to think about the idiocy of what he tried. And if it doesn't go like that, he'll take it out on his dad and on Cody and on Dustin and on anyone else who remotely associated with the Nightmare family. Then we have Chris Jericho come out. Chris Jericho, of course, lost the fifth labor of Jericho to MJF last week. And the Judas effect and Judas in general was banned. By the way, I just found out tonight I will be seeing Chris Jericho live on September 12th, 2021, as Fozzie's coming back and will be at Jurgles in Warrendale. So we will be going there that night, and it should be a good time. I'll make sure to, capture some good moments. And, I don't like to post many photos on Twitter because, I'm not as active on Twitter as I used to be. And, again, I'm still, I've really been slacking off on live tweeting and whatnot. But the last time I did go see Fozzy, Chris Jericho actually did retweet one of the photos I posted of him. So maybe we'll do that again. Let's wait and see. But Jericho comes out. He tells the crowd they sound great and puts over what a big week it's been for AEW. Everyone's been celebrating except for him, though. He lost to MJF for a third time, and he tapped out. It's been driving them crazy. People ask him, why do you put yourself in this situation in the first place? The answer is because that's who he is, and it's what he does. But the fact that he failed to beat MJF has been driving him crazy. A voice in his head that won't shut up says, beat MJF, over and over again, and yet he has not. And until this ends, he'll keep attacking him. And that's why he got a proposal for a way to end this. And if MJF would come down, he'll fill him in. MJF does not come out. So then Jericho says he hopes MJF's listening backstage because he wants one more match at All Out. And basically says, if I can't beat MJF, he will no longer wrestle in AEW again. He will go behind the commentary table full-time on Rampage, but he will not wrestle in AEW again. Which then obviously excited MJF, who comes out wearing a shirt that says MJF 3, Jerablo 0. He says this is getting a little embarrassing, and when Jericho said his name, he couldn't help but think, leave me alone, go away. He's going to have these people fooled, but he's no idiot, and he knows that Jericho keeps coming back to him because he knows he needed a rub from the youngest and fastest rising star in the history of professional wrestling. He's a cash cow, and his udders are sore, and that's why he made a promise to himself when he tapped Jericho out faster than somebody listened to a Fozzy CD, ouch, that he'd never wrestle him again. However, being able to say, I tapped out Chris Jericho is cool, though. But being able to say, I ended Chris Jericho is legendary. So he accepts the match. But he really wants Jericho to really consider mule it over, because he's putting his in-ring career on the line against the same man that has mopped the floor with him 3 times. So, the match between them is official. I don't know if they really needed to go this route with it, because like I said, Jericho and MJF, their matches have been alright. The singles matches they had, but definitely not as good as I'd hoped for. I'm sure this match is going to have a lot of, chaos, of course, involving, the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle getting involved, maybe. I don't know. And a bunch of other stuff, probably. So, Well, I was waiting to see how they do this time. Like I said, I don't know if it was really. At this point, they probably should have just done the fifth labor of Jericho at All Out with Jericho's career on the line there. But it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. But I will be real though, it is kind of starting to drag a little bit of this feud. Like I said, it's been good, but not so point. It's like, okay, move on to something else maybe. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. So we had the Varsity Blondes backstage. They talk about the Lucha Bros telling them that their bond might not be blood, their bond is a lot thicker, and they'll be the one going to challenge Young Bucks at All Out. Oh, and then the rest of the Elite come out to watch the next match in the World Tag Team Championship number one contenders eliminator match. The Lucha Bros took on Varsity Blondes in a solid match. And Lucha Bros would get the win with an assisted pile driver on Brian Pillman Jr. At post-match, though, Jurassic Express get in the ring and work together with the Lucha Bros to take out the Elite. And then we also have Andrade El Idolo and Chavo Guerrero having a video package for hyping up Andrade's match against Pac at All Out, which will be a solid addition to the card for sure. We'll see how that one goes. I still would like to see Andrade versus Rey Fenix though, and Penta El Zero Miedo. But Andrade and Rey Fenix, ooh, that excites me. So does Andrade and Pac would be good, but him and Rey, again, if he can put on classics of matches in WWE with Rey Mysterio, imagine what he could do with someone like Rey Fenix. It'd be pretty cool. Then we have Jamie Hayter, who returned at Rampage, not last Friday, but the Friday before, and she's basically part of the Britt Baker's crew with her and Rebel or Reba. She had a match with Red Velvet, who would take on Dr. Britt Baker recently in Britt's hometown, and unfortunately, even though Red Velvet's a face and loved, she got booed in Pittsburgh. As unfortunately, because again, Pittsburgh, my hometown, same as Dr. Britt Baker DMD's. And Jamie Hayter won the match with the lariat. Afterwards, though, Chris Statler came out and made the save and clears Hayter and Rebel before staring down Britt Baker. There's a front chancery put on. I think it was Rebel. I can't remember who it was. But then Britt leaves her title behind in a ring, and then Chris picks it up and holds it high. As we are getting Britt Baker and Chris Statlander, which should be a solid match. We were supposed to have that one-on-one actually at Double or Nothing 2020 until Britt got hurt and missed most of the summer of 2020, which it wasn't the worst case scenario anyways, even though they somehow still kept her much more relevant than WWE has kept their talents relative, even when she was injured, because they actually know how to book someone properly. We also then had Dark Order arguing backstage. Basically, they're not on the same page. Some are respecting what Adam Page has asked them to do. Some of them, still want to be there for him, and they bicker or whatnot. So there's tension going off between them as well. Let's wait on this next part till the end. Miro cut a promo where he forgives Fuego del Sol and promises to find Eddie Kingston, drag him to the river and hold him under. God will back him because he is the Redeemer, and his wife will love him because he is the champion. Bring him the Mad King. So guess who we're doing Miro and Eddie Kingston at All Out, which could be good. I mean, I actually, I'll be honest again, I've loved Miro as champion. I really wouldn't mind Eddie Kingston though getting a run with that AEW with some sort of championship, as he definitely deserves it, being one of the best promoists to walk into AEW within the past ever, of course, in all their existence, and in wrestling in general. He's just great on the microphone also, and literally his hard work paid him off, getting him a world title feud with Jon Moxley. So why not reward him some sort of championship? They want to take the belt off Miro, put it on Eddie Kingston. Fine by me. They keep it on Miro. Fine by me as well. But that's a good candidate for Miro to lose the championship to. We also then had, speaking of which, we had Darby Allin, John Moxley, and Eddie Kingston taking on the Wingmen, which are Cesar Bononi, JD Drake, and Ryan Nemeth, in a solid match. Pretty Peter Avalon trying to get involved before Sting, distracted him. The babyfaces won the match, though, with a coffin drop from Darby Allin onto JD Drake. And Darby Allin, as we all know, has a big match against the best in the world at All Out, which is in Chicago, which is a certain person's hometown. After the match, though, Danny Garcia comes in and cheap shots Darby Allin, beating him down before his allies make the save. We also have Ty Conchi being interviewed before she can be interviewed, as they're hyping up a women's battle royale on the buy-in for All Out. The Bunny rolls up and says, "Why are you still hanging out with those losers in the Dark Order? You should join the HFO." And then Conchi tears up the contract up, and they start to brawl right in front of them. I'm sure they're probably going to come toe-to-toe at some point in that battle royale. We also have a video package with FTR focusing on Cash Wheeler's injured arm, how it's not going to stop them from getting their pound of flesh. Then out came the Elite, and then Don Callis gets on the microphone and pledges they're going to take Christian Cage out once and for all at All Out, even though Cage beat Kenny for the TNA and the Impact World Championship. But then out came Christian Cage, who plays a video that's been floating around this week, proof that Don Callis is a carny piece of shit trying to replace Christian Cage with a 10-year-old Omega back in the 90s, as he fired Cage. And Kenny says, well, nothing's changed, and Callis says favoring family over talent makes him just like Bill Watts, Eddie Graham, Vince McMahon. Yes, he said Vince McMahon on live television. And Vern Gagne, but Kenny isn't Eric Watts or Gage Gagne. He's Kenny, by God, Omega. Christian says he doesn't know what's weirder, that Don manipulated a 10-year-old Omega, or that he's still doing the same thing as an adult. Callis then asks this guy to hold his scarf and his jacket, saying this is making him very upset. And what Christian's going to find out at All Out is that when he stands next to Kenny, he is what he's been his entire career, second best. And of course, I think there was an On This Day reference, or You Think You Know Me, basically, and I instantly thought Edge. But basically referring to how Christian's always going to be second best. Basically, obviously Edge was looked at better than him, but then Christian snapped and brawls broke out by the Brandon Cutler sprays, and they turned the tide on Christian Cage until Frankie Kazarian comes out and makes the save with a lead pipe like a madman, which was, pretty cool. I'm surprised they still haven't done a match yet with Frankie Kazarian and Kenny Omega. You think they would have by now with Frankie Kazarian being the elite hunter? I guess not yet. John Moxley, though, has a promo backstage. He talks about how he got a FedEx from Tokyo. One contract, only one guy with the balls to chase the boogeyman of New Japan, Kojima Satoshi. A real treat to the fans to see a legend of New Japan and All Japan. This crazy old man wants to step in the ring with Moxley. Looks like he got himself a death wish, and you want to go out in a blaze of glory? Once the bell rings, he's got no respect for him. And every time he squeezes his throat, he's trying to make you eat through a straw for the rest of your life. Now, September 5th is going to be the public execution of the legend Satoshi Kojima, who's some guy from New Japan. I guess we're going to have Mox versus some more New Japan guys, since he really hasn't. He's already done his work with the world title picture in AEW. Could be back again, who knows. The Gun Clubs, Austin, Billy, and Colton Gunn taking on the Factories, QT Marshall, Nick Camarado, and Aaron Solo. Match was for what it was. Paul White was on commentary, eyeing down his opponent for All Out QT Marshall. Off distraction, the Gun Club wins, and this doesn't make QT happy at all whatsoever. Dan Lambert has another promo with the Men of the Year, which are Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, saying, what is rule number one of business? Know your customers and give them what they want. and his mistake was blaming AEW for giving us what we want when they show us some dorky gymnastic posing to his girlfriend, and what you don't want to see is a real men because you're not real men. He continues to mock AEW fans, says our generation needs help, so he's providing real role models with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. So I guess he's managing them now? Who knows? And in the main event, Malachi Black beat Brock Anderson, and afterwards he also takes out Arn Anderson with a kick. And then of course Lee Johnson came down to the stage to challenge him basically next. So that's who's next. But Malachi Black is slowly making his way to the top, as he's probably going to be challenging, having a rematch with Cody Rhodes at All Out, as it seems to be. And that's, well, everything except for the biggest story from AEW for the past week. We'll get to that in a second. First, let's check the live chats. We got Tyler in there. He said he gave the show a B+, and Emiro should be AEW World Champion. I agree. I would love to see him as AEW World Champion someday. Definitely. Before we actually move forward, we take a quick breather. Let me get a drink of water. Hang on one second. To just splash some water in my face for a second, a quick drink of water. But yes, we are back here now. But before we go, let's talk about the big news. I'm sure I talked about it a little bit Friday night with my SmackDown review, right before my girlfriend's dog almost destroyed my computer, which was funny. And I am aware, yes, my own mother, believe it or not, pointed out to me that my please stay tuned say please stay tunes. I do need to fix that. I will fix that tonight. Because I have to make a graphic for what I'm about to start tonight, which is my sitcom reviews. Which I look forward to doing those again. Those will not be live. They'll be pre-recorded. Excuse me. But let's talk. Let's talk about the big thing that happened Friday night into um, the um, the interview from this episode of Dynamite. So this past Friday's episode of AEW Rampage took place at the United Center. Never mind. At the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. The crowd was hot. They were chanting that name. And the voice of the voiceless, who actually retired that nickname this past week on Dynamite. And he has a good reason why, which I'll read that off. And actually, before I move any further, let me pull something up. AEW Rampage results 8/20/2021 cage side. Just so I could read this word from word for exactly what was said in this promo. So again, the first dance, as they called it, in one of the probably the biggest crowd AEW has had yet, and will of course continue to get bigger. Let me see here. Where is it? I gotta make sure I get it. Because we all were hoping for this, and we all saw the teases, and it finally happened. I didn't think it would open up the show. But it did. The show from this past Friday night began with the 7-year return to pro wrestling of CM Punk. The crowd, honestly, I was surprised. Of course, we've heard the rumors for ages. My thoughts were, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. And I'm glad I kept that mentality because, one, I didn't want to get my hopes up, but two, I popped and was excited when he came out. And here's the thing. First thing I noticed about Punk, you could tell he was happy to be there. Because Punk got emotional throughout this whole segment on Friday night. He did. And when did you ever really see him get emotional in WWE? Punk always seemed like, a cool guy, but not a guy who has, an emotional side. He came out and obviously just took in the crowd, and he was, just, first on his knees. He was just watching everybody going, and then finally, after taking all, he gets up and starts going yeah, I'm back! And he literally comes down, he's giving people high fives, he's hugging people in crowds, he even, jumped into a group of people, which might have been people he knew, friends or family, something like that, jumped into a group he knew. He took his time, he took probably about, first, 5 minutes or so, just to make an entrance. And also, I was surprised he used Cult of Personality. Well, then again, I don't think that's owned by WWE, so I think he would still be allowed to either way. And, of course, he was CM Punk before he even got to AEW. And then we had, the 90-second, commercial break, and then we came back with, the promo. The first promo, Punk is cut on live TV, well, besides when he was on WWE Backstage. The first promo he's cut inside the squared circle in 7 years. He announces that, first he basically says that way to feel someone feel like Britt Baker did in Pittsburgh, basically, putting her over. And he says, for years, he heard us all. He heard us all. And he found the right opening. He says he's back. He's not going to tell us. He says he won't get to everything tonight, but he's got time. He'll be around Wednesdays, Fridays, and 4 weekends a month. And then he also, before he gets into a small little story, he also wants to apologize because he felt if any of his life choices offended anyone or disappointed anyone over the past 7 years, he's sorry. Which, much respect for Punk for that. Yes, I'll be honest again, Punk didn't come across to me, in WWE, awesome, cool guy, but not someone, like I said, who has like that emotional side, that like softer side to him. Not saying he's a jerk, but he seems like a little like more like a hard nosed guy. Like this is how it is, but still a cool guy to definitely get along with. He says, but he couldn't get better in the place that got him sick, WWE. And then he says, "Can I tell you a story?" Which he takes off his jacket and he sits down. He has his new CM Punk shirt, which I've ordered. It's in the mail. It's in the mail coming to me. I'll probably do an unboxing video on that. He takes off his jacket, sits down exactly how he sat when he did the pipe bomb, and he tells a story about how the last time he felt super emotional was August 13th, 2005, which was his last match in Ring of Honor. And he felt sad for leaving, but even though he's only been gone from pro wrestling for 7 years, he realized he was leaving somewhere where people got paid, people were appreciated, people were loved, and people were there to actually, be supportive and, love the sport of wrestling, and basically just not take people's passions away. It was a place where people enjoyed working there. So, without saying WWE, he basically says that, first he mentioned earlier, a place that got him sick. Remember, a place that basically he could have died because of his freaking staph infection. He then says that, August 13th, 2005 was the day he left wrestling. August 20th, 2021, 16 years later, he came back to pro wrestling. And then, of course, he says, there's a lot of young talent back there he wants to work with, and he calls out Darby Allin, who obviously and even in the promo he cut on Dynamite, he mentions basically how, AEW makes him excited for wrestling again. Obviously, the talent there, he makes him excited. He wants to work with them. He wants to help them out. He wants to, also prove that he still got it. And what better way for him to do it than in Chicago on September 5th, where he has his first return match against one of his personal favorites to watch today, Darby Allin, who said he wanted the best in the world. And at All Out, he is indeed getting the best in the world. And then also he ends that promo on Friday with him saying that out of his gratitude, free ice cream bars for everyone. I'm just like, yes! After 10 long years, Punk has finally found his ice cream bars. And then we had the promo where he appeared on Dynamite this past week. He was asked by Tony Schiavone to name one thing that brought him back. He tells Tony, he says, "I can't hear him over the roar of the crowd." He answers people with names like Penta El Zero Miedo, Ray Phoenix, Brian Pillman Jr., Jungle Boy. But before all those names, there was one guy. He's going to go ahead and retire the name Voice of the Voices, because this place has a voice, and there's people in the back that listen. That was what I was forgetting before. That was a line I was taking a stab at Vince, saying that there's no longer the voiceless. People in AEW listen, which is true. Why he's here. He watches Darby Allin and he's reckless to the point of destruction, and sits back and looks at all the young talent and he asks, can CM Punk still go? Does CM Punk still have what it takes? Can CM Punk still be the best in the world? And if the answer is yes, it starts with Darby Allin, somebody who would have been his favorite wrestler when he was 15 years old. He sees himself somebody that doesn't fit the mold of what a professional wrestler is. And he's not the biggest or the strongest, but god damn it, he's got heart. Basically saying he sees a lot of himself in Darby Allin. And if he's going to answer those questions to himself, in which the crowd starts chanting, yes, obviously referring to Daniel Bryan, and CM Punk does not ignore that. Punk flat out said this. He said that's somebody else's shicks, or he said, and we might just have to be a little bit patient on that one. And the crowd popped. So obviously, again, we keep hearing the rumors. I'd say the earliest All Out or that Arthur Ashe show will probably be when Brian Danielson will make his AEW debut. But he says right now, to answer those questions, it comes down to All Out on September 5th. And then he says hi to his beautiful wife sitting at home. He tells her he loves her. We all love you too, AJ Lee. Gosh. It's so good to see him back. And like I said, it's good to see him back and see that he's happy. Even in the interview I think he's been in talk with Tony Khan for about a year and a half now. He was just, weighing it out, see how it looks, and making sure this was right for him. Punk obviously again left WWE in 2014. He wasn't happy. And quite frankly, I do not blame him. Like I said, that place made him lose his passion for professional wrestling. AEW helped him get that passion back. And now he has people he wants to work with, in the likes of, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, Brian Pillman Jr., him and Sting, him and Jon Moxley. He even mentioned Renee Paquette, who kind of got him, starting back up into wrestling again by inviting him to backstage. He said it just backstage interview. He didn't say WWE backstage. Again, I knew it was going to take a lot for Punk to come back. But remember this also. Even though he had quit, or he walked out of the company in 2014, once his suspension was over, he was itching to kind of get back. When Triple H said, you have time to talk, he wanted to talk. But instead, nope, they fired him on his wedding day. Obviously because Punk spoke the truth in that text Triple H, and again, they fired him. Like I said, I knew it was going to take a lot to bring Punk back. And AEW sure succeeded. And AEW is must-see TV. At this point, like I said, WWE doesn't even stand a chance. WWE just does not stand a single chance. And if they couldn't, capitalize with the right maneuvers at SummerSlam this past weekend, then, oh dear Lord, they got a long and windy road. And like I said, as long as Punk is around, AEW is going to be must-see. WWE is going to look like shit compared to them. And it will be only a matter of time before Dynamite beats Raw in ratings. I hope to God they do. But that's going to do it, guys. Again, a longer Dynamite review for sure, but again, had to talk about Punk. I gave the show a B+. Tyler says in the live chat, Jericho should get his rematch for the world title. If he can get past MJF, I agree. AJ should get drafted to SmackDown and get away from Orton. That would be nice, but again, the only thing is here's the thing, Tyler. I've said this multiple times. I don't expect AJ to go back to SmackDown, only because I've heard rumors he wants to be on Raw, so that way he can be at his kids' events on weekends. So if that's the case, I understand why, and I think he's going to be staying on Raw. Hit me in the head, Punk! Hit me in the head, Punk! Your father's a drunk, Punk! Oh, goodness. If Jericho still beats MJF, I want to see a rematch, rematch feud, and have that whole feud with Jericho and Punk reenacted. That would be awesome. And then don't be surprised if Punk or Bryan wins the World Championship in AEW. And you know what? I'm not going to complain. Not going to complain whatsoever. But yeah, guys, that does it. It's time now. As soon as I turn this off, I'm putting in the DVD, watching the first episode. I've already watched the making of documentary, but the first episode. And I will be recording my first sitcom review tonight. I'm very excited, guys. I'm looking forward to starting this new chapter on my channel. And that's gonna do it. Guys, as always, again, wrestling content's been toned down on my channel, but, I'll still gladly talk about some stuff I want to talk about, like in this stream. I expect some sort of like a talking point stream sometime over the weekend from what happened in WWE this week. We'll see what happens, guys, as always. Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure, as always, to slap a like on the video, subscribe for more content on my channel, follow me on Twitter at DemandAirBoy93. And also, I will get that Please Stay Tuned graphic fixed tonight as well. And that's going to do it, guys. I'm checking out. Have a good rest of your night. I'll see you guys soon. Peace out, everybody.